In this episode, I'm going to share some thoughtful insights I gained from a client who's experiencing solid, consistent growth. As he's looking forward, I thought you might benefit from his experience and his challenges. Want a peek behind the curtain? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you, so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that as your business grows and matures, you'll be faced with needing to make several changes in how you run your business. That while you may prefer to be flexible and unstructured, there comes a time when structure and discipline play a more important role. And that preparing for 4 specific changes in your business will smooth the path forward for more growth and success. Here's my question for you this week. Is it time to think differently about your business as it matures? Sometimes my clients ask some very intriguing questions, ones that make me think deeply about how a business truly works and how a business owner should think about their business. This happened just the other day. A longtime client of mine sent me an email with some thought-provoking questions. As a little background, this client started their business about 8 years ago. Since then, they've grown their business from just a couple of team members to over 15, and they were on pace to do over $3 million in revenues this year. From the beginning, this client wanted to be different from his competition in that he wanted his team members to be more like family. He wanted everyone to have a voice on how work got done, and he was not big on hierarchy or structure. His goal was to hire individuals who didn't just work for him for a season or two, but who would stay for the long term. With that, he wanted everyone to have advancement opportunities based on their long-term commitment to the business. In the beginning, everyone did everything. They all pitched in where they needed, and their roles were flexible and varied. But as they grew and expanded, the roles of his team members became more specialized, and everyone worked for a specific department rather than just freestyle. While many changes were good and welcomed, the business growth was creating some interesting challenges and complications. That's what prompted his questions. Questions like, what needs to change to make our business work well going into the next 5 years? How can we allow everyone to move up in the business and still afford to hire new team members we need? And how do we allow and encourage everyone to share their opinion when we have so many different opinions on every issue that gets raised? Great questions that all required some great discussion and consideration. And they prompted me to think that many other business owners were asking these very questions about their businesses too, which led me to take a few minutes to prepare this particular podcast episode. As I put my thoughts together to share with you today, I came to 4 very specific changes that every business goes through as they begin to mature in size, scope, and impact. I'm sure there are more than just these 4 specific changes, but today I'd like to share with you the 4 things that I see needing to be addressed by most every business owner who takes their business from a small startup to a multi-million-dollar revenue business. Here's the first change that needs to be addressed. Building a financial model for growth. When most businesses are small, the owner and a couple of super dedicated team members typically handle everything, and they work seamlessly from one issue to the next without questioning roles or responsibilities. They just need to get the work done. But as the business gets bigger, more team members will be needed. So how do you determine how many the business can afford? This needs to be done using a financial model. The financial model doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to help define what portion of the revenues are going to be used for what cost items. The question I like to ask is, if 100% of the revenue is available to be used, what should it be used for? It's best to start with the profit you need and want from the business. Let's say that you want to make a 20% profit from your business. That leaves you with 80% of your revenues for all the other costs in the business. Next, you need to determine what it costs to make and deliver your products or services. These are called your costs of goods sold. Let's say your cost of goods sold work out to be 50% of your revenues. Now you need to determine what percentage of your cost of goods is material costs and what percentage is labor costs. Your cost of goods sold labor costs will determine how many team members you can afford to generate the expected amount of revenues in your plan. With a profit of 20% and cost of goods of 50%, you're left with 30% of the revenues for your overhead expenses. Once you figure out how much it costs to keep the business operating on a daily basis, your rent, utilities, software, travel, marketing, etc., you can determine what's left for wages to cover the cost for administrative team members. Using this kind of financial model to determine how many team members you can afford is one of the big changes that must occur as your business matures from startup into multi-million-dollar revenues. The second big change that needs to be addressed is building a team structure that works. In the beginning, most business organization charts reflect the idea that everyone does everything. But as you grow and mature, your organization chart must reflect a more disciplined approach to getting work done. Using the results from the financial model we discussed earlier, it becomes easier to create an organization chart that reflects what roles are needed in what areas to support your customers. This means that not all positions on the org chart will be at the same level or require the same skill set, which means that by definition, everyone will not have the same upper level limit on their compensation or wages. Their compensation will need to be tied to their level of responsibility, authority, and skill set required to fill the position that they're in on the org chart. The org chart will also define reporting relationships, authority levels, and hierarchy. For many, this is uncomfortable, but for the sake of your customer, it's important that everyone on your team know with certainty what they're responsible for and what your expectations are of them. The best way to share this with your team is through an org chart. So while it may be nice to function without a defined organization structure, as you grow and mature, it will be exceedingly more important that you have one that helps give clarity to everyone on your team. The third critical change that needs to be addressed is moving from a democracy to a representative republic. When it's just you and a couple of dedicated team members, it's easy to allow and encourage everyone to weigh in on every issue, action, or decision. But as you grow and mature, the number of voices become far too many to allow and encourage everyone to have a voice in everything. And with your new organization chart, it becomes even more important that everyone funnel their inputs through their direct supervisor or manager. This allows you to make decisions by meeting with your key leaders rather than meeting with everyone on your team. But it doesn't always go over well with those who are not in the top positions. Someone who's been on your team for a long time, but's in a lower tier position, may find it upsetting or frustrating to lose their voice in the business. This is a reality you must be prepared for and a change that's critical to keep the business moving forward efficiently. Defining a way that everyone can make their input without bringing your business to its knees is a critical change that must be made. It may be through regular all-hands meetings, It may be through a recommendation program, or it may be through your open door policy. But whatever you do, make sure that everyone on your team understands that as the business grows, it's less and less a true democracy where everyone has a voice and a vote, but that it will become more of a representative republic where the key leaders represent the voice of the team when big decisions need to be made. Lastly, the fourth critical change that must be addressed is balancing being friendly with being firm. In a small business, the business owner is oftentimes overly friendly and less firm with his or her team. Because they just have one or two team members, and those team members are 100% dedicated and focused on getting the work done, it's easy to be friendly because they know what needs to get done. But over time, as you add more team members, the need to balance being friendly with being firm becomes a bigger and bigger issue. Don't get me wrong, you don't want to be unfriendly, but you also don't want to allow poor performance or lack of attention to detail go unnoticed or unspoken. As the business owner and your key leaders must assume the position of holding everyone to your high standards, while at the same time being approachable, caring, and kind. It's a balancing act that's more difficult but necessary as you mature into a business of size and influence. So there you have it, 4 critical changes that are going to happen as your business matures. Building a financial model for growth, building a team structure that works, moving from a democracy to a representative republic, and balancing being friendly with being firm. The more you're ready to tackle these changes, the better the transition from small to significant will be. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts. Number 1, business growth and success comes with its rewards, but it also has its challenges. You must be prepared for both. Number 2, the 4 critical changes we discussed today will help position your business for future growth and success. And number 3, don't allow your nostalgia for the past to hold you back from addressing the changes that must occur for you to win in the future. If you'd like some additional support in this area or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss recent trends in hiring great team members. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.